Are you? Okay. Start the meeting with the Industrial Development Authority. It's on February 15th. Roll call, please.
Stacy. Absent. Eric Hudson.
Here.
Denise Ellison.
Here.
One member McLeod. Here. Lisa Green. Here. And Mahone.
Here.
Oh, Andre. Judy McIntyre.
Okay, we will move to minutes for review and approval. Minutes from the regular meeting on January 18th and the governance meeting on the 17th. Have a motion? Moved by Jimmy. Second by Terry and Lisa. All those in favor? Aye. Bills and communications, CDW monthly ad package.
I'll speak to this. This is the last one we received from them as this part of their monthly update metric reporting here. We should not, depending on what the board decides, moving forward from today, be potentially receiving these in the future here. That this or bills. Again, that's the expression of the board's decision.
Who's in the website?
So I did confirm it is ours. It is. So it's WordPress, and what AIDA does is we pay the hosting fees, and then we just resubmit it to you guys. They'll come in. I've got to make sure I'm clear on that. So, I mean, the entire website is done through WordPress. But exactly what's being hosted.
Somebody hosted. I just want to know if we're done.
But yes, I did confirm all the marketing material, IP, everything else that's been developed by them is property that they got. But no other bills or communication has come in over the last week.
Motion on this? An actual bill? No. Okay, we'll move on to 4, report of the treasurer. January budget report and balance sheet.
So you've seen the budget report, there really isn't any income other than a little bit of interest. And we have the monthly bill from PPW for $47.50 for the year, and then $850 in dues. So we paid out $50. So that's basically our loss year to date.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Glenn. I'll second. Second by Jerry. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And carried. Pilot disbursement report.
All the AIDA, simply received seminaries, submitted after and we do those for their notices. They submitted late, so we know theirs, and they included their fee with it.
Thank you.
That's everybody now.
That's everyone. And then getting ready to do the disbursements this the beginning of next week, so we should have those.
Sure, so I'm gonna let you share a little bit of this with Terry because we were in a joint meeting earlier. So I'll get to that in a moment here. We have my know, their general interest for the 14-acre parcel over the top park right now. Looking at some more information and bringing for the board going into next month. For development on that there. The next other large item that I want to make sure the board is aware of here is I will be having an introductory meeting with a rep from Alstom tomorrow. They are the current owners of the Bounded Deer facility here, and they specifically requested they have a meeting not just with the city but with myself to go over AIDA benefits as well as they're taking a look at that property. So happy to share an update with this board going into next month. Hopefully a little more get the budget out as to what their intent is, but great to hear their interest for AIDA benefits relative to that project. And moving along, this is where I'll pass it along to Terry a little bit. We were a part of one of the committee meetings that's been set up throughout the county relative to Micron. Meeting earlier this week was around workforce development and comprising a group from OC, Auburn City School District, as well as PCC, a couple of other folks, myself included. We had a very special guest this last week, which was a rep from Micron themselves directly, who shared some nice information with us. The presentation they had, they will be sending out the slide deck that was presented there, and all it was maybe 40-45 minutes, high level introduction of what their intent is within the region and specific programs they would like to see rolled out. But they're certainly looking to be a partner with the community here. Proximity quite well with AIDA's purpose of serving a larger community, and workforce is a very important part of that. So this is where all of them refer over the years.
Yeah, Michael is correct. It with a direct connection to Sarah from Micron, we did kind of a PowerPoint. Apparently the slide will be going to the members of this committee, and specifically on workforce development. It's the takeaway, and this is from Amy as well from Center State, and correct me if I'm wrong. The takeaway is that at least for workforce development, they want a kind of concerted effort of the county, Oswego, Cayuga to work together, come up with a unified plan. Whereas before we had the sense that Onondaga County wanted to take the lead, and I'm sure they're undertaking that several initiatives. But when it came to workforce development and education, planning, they want some buy-in. They want to make sure that the counties are all the same. So one of the things that Michael was saying, like this is more of a political thing than what that AIDA and AIDA are doing would be to reach out to the county and try to get some buy-in. So I volunteered to I'm going to go to council tomorrow and ask and present the same thing and see if it would be okay if I could reach out, or in the area city in general, to reach out to the chair of the county legislature to kind of make sure that we're ready to work in concert to make sure that workforce development is on the forefront of Cayuga County, Auburn, Oswego County, and all the other surrounding counties that know this is going to be a collaborative effort. So, to me, it's like a door open to get the county in the purview of this important
They
development.
want collaboration on the workforce development piece, or on, because aren't we competing against each other?
Not really. I think,
Not for workforce development, but for like supply chain.
well,
companies.
yes, I think the theory that many of us realizing that, you know, that this is a total opportunity for collaboration, like, you know, all of the areas of the rises and things. So, you know, but for me, this is the first thing that makes the most sense. It's like, hey, it's all work together. We got AIDA, Oswego, you know, AIDA and all the surrounding counties. Let's, you know, work together. So workforce development and education has been at least from my perspective, the first thing where the door is open. The invite is like, hey, let's work together. I'd say let's take advantage of it and make sure that, you know, county, the CCC, I mean, I think all the CCC well represented.
Yeah, anybody from the county else?
No, but that's what I want to do. And I want to make sure that is that, you know, that there, and I know that, the chair, Chairman Gould, is on the committee, but I also want to like reach out to him and that with that proposals, like, we're really hoping to have this, be such a, like an opportunity for all of us to show this.
Yeah, the housing committee too that I'm on, but I think either delegated or asked legislator Kerr and legislator Daley to go to those meetings. So there's nobody from the county attending the workforce
The
development.
last one there was, but, you know, again, we're just one on the after the meeting, but I do think it's an opportunity for the, you know, the county to make that, you know, I guess a priority, because this is a great, and then this is really what Sarah from Micron was saying, is long term. Obviously, the first is the trade for the building of the structure, but then, you know, long term K through 12 community colleges for the actual job that they're going to be doing the work there.
And they talked at all about investment in programs within school districts, because I know that this came up in we had a housing meeting, that's what they really. And it came up that in, I can't remember what school in Syracuse it is. Yeah, they've actually started a program, I think, for sixth graders, so
Yeah.
they're planning for that eventual opening of lifetime by engaging the students of that age group when they graduate, they're on a career path.
You know, when you're talking there, that's really kind of a pilot right now.
Okay.
We're going through that school there, and it did come up in the meeting that Jeff Marzoli had said, you know, we're aware this is happening. We would also like to participate here. And some of the takeaways we had from the meeting, the largest one being taking a full stock inventory of what our, you know, what makes up our workforce right now, what's our current strengths and weaknesses, what programs are available and in development, and more importantly, where are the gaps that we can then collaborate with the rest of the region of saying, how can we come together on this as best possible. As it relates to the competitive side of things, that's where we're competing for supply and companies, but everywhere else we can collaborate, we're looking to do that here. Why I think it's important to bring into this board here is we're looking to attract, you know, companies to come into UP County, leveraging that information that can be better promoted as we're going out in the market, trying to get other companies to come in and take advantage of those data benefits. That's going to be really important to have. You know, part of the reason why Crown came, they felt the workforce was there. Though Sarah had brought up in that meeting there are some substantial gaps, and that's why they're looking to invest throughout the community. But having a partner like that who's willing to put, you know, significant money on the table to see this come to fruition is what we all want to see.
And I think it's encouraging and important to choose that. I mean, I think it's great because I think there's still, at least what I experienced in the committee meetings I'm in, there's still, well, if it happens. Like, so to know that somebody from my kind of meeting saying like, this is what we're going to do, I think that's still important.
So is here, and this has been a long-standing fear of mine, getting that mindset out of the door. One, Steve County, it's part of Steve's job, and so might not think we're deserving of it. We want to dispel that, and more importantly, go out there and show them that, some of this recent news of layoffs and everything else. Micron and everyone else, like, who's a company of that size, we're well aware of things like this were gonna happen. It's not like they made decisions, a couple of days ahead of time, so they understand they're going through some tailwinds right now, but as Sarah also showed in the meeting, the size of the semiconductor market is going to grow significantly in the next 10 years in the US alone. So it's an enormous opportunity. So part of CETA's job in acting with our partners as well is getting the community on board and kind of dispelling that fear. One, believe it, if it is happening, and if we want to be in control of our future, we have to be working collaboratively on this here. We don't want things forced upon us. We want controlled change. So, and I think Micron's aware of that too, which is why they're trying to be invested in the community.
And Lisa's point on the competing with other counties, it came up, I don't think it was the past meeting, but the one before, there was a meeting with Brian McMahon, where he basically acknowledged that Onondaga County can't do this on their own, right? Like, from water and sewer infrastructure to schools, schools can only handle so many students, right? So they need this sprawl among these other counties. And the sewer and water infrastructure actually came up at our meeting yesterday. We provide that for all the surrounding towns, and houses start going up in the towns. How does that impact our ability to expand in the city of Auburn? So it's interesting to bring that up, because it was mentioned that there was acknowledgement that they cannot absorb it. And when we were in Albany last week, for NICOM, the governor announced that there's a supply chain business, I don't know, supply chain business, but an ancillary business that will be servicing Micron, 600 jobs that just committed to the table. So I think there's plenty to go around, but it's interesting that you bring that up, because it's come up in our meeting.
Michael, I think that part of convincing the community, I'm going to use an analogy that might seem, but, I think when communities take on large capital initiatives, they're going to build something. One of the things that the architects often do is to do the rendering, right? So it lets people see what it's going to look like, and then if the leaders do good change management work, they're constantly speaking to that vision. And I think that I would just say that John Cotter is a change guru who has these 8 phases of change that he and his work identifies that when you're going to cause transformational change, that it's important to move the community, the people through these 8 phases. I will share this with you. I use it in my work. I think it's something we should pay attention to, because our doubt is that we need to counterbalance that doubt, the language you use, But he says you have to create this sense of urgency that's grounded in data, right? And so I'm thinking, Terry, like, at our conversation is that the way we dispel that doubt is to create the business, the case for why now is the time for Cleveland County to take a collaborative approach. And it has to be really intentionally done. And he talks about building a guided coalition. I mean, he walks you through it. But in my clients' work, when they kind of grasp that concept, it helps them do that. I was with some folks that I hang out with in Onondaga County, and they were saying, some people are experiencing what Micron is doing. It's like love bombing, because they quite a lot of money. And so people are suspicious for all kinds of reasons. But I think we have to be real tactical and strategic about dispelling that doubt, because we feel it, I think, in a different way, because we're so peripheral to what's going on. They're in Syracuse, in Onondaga County, probably every other month, but we're only going to see them here when there's a reason to see them. So I think the more we can really sort of think about overlaying change management theory with the kind of creating this reason. And I'm wondering if some of the conversations we've had is maybe positioning CETA to be the convener and or the catalyst of a series of conversations about why we should even care that micro. I just don't think it's as visual to people. I don't think they see it, and I don't think they understand it. So how we communicate about this is going to be really critical. And it's just in my experience when I can help my clients wrap their brains around this approach, it helps them. Because it's the psychological, emotional piece of it that we really are helping people at. So I think that's what our issue is that people aren't getting it because they can't see it. And we also, I think, have to express that there will be, even if it didn't happen, there's residual benefits in us as a community doing what we're about to embark on. So I just think it has to, it cannot be happening.
You have two generations of federal workers who
Yeah.
have seen everything.
Exactly.
Right? Like, we're not used to-
That's it.
When you start to make it real for people's children, then they start thinking, there's certain anxiety being in Central New York. Children go what they're going to do
Mhm.
and make a life elsewhere. It's real, I have three of my own. With my time coming in, I can start to think about them staying and having a good job and doing their own job. And that's a very real thing. What my friend has done, they have these programs that they start creating with city school districts, but what they also have done is they're starting to put up programs at the Museum of Science and Technology and things like that. And, maybe they'd be willing to do something centrally located in Auburn too, but something real that people could visit, to get children involved.
Well, then that's-
And I think that's sort of what you're discussing, but maybe something more immediate.
Yeah,
Well,
they should be both. So they have that program that is bringing all these things, help kids almost learn how to create. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think, Michael, you're exactly on what the key issue is. I think if we can just think through tactically and strategically how to begin the shift in that mindset. And I think we need to start it now. And I would also agree, I'm kind of watching what they do. And they're really talk about the future of it. And so they're already kind of developing for future employees. But it is, you have to be very tactical. And I think the subtext of this is you talk about why, even if this didn't happen, why our community, our county is going to benefit from operating this way, because they're all game in town, they're not the only one.
Well, going back to, well, actually what you're both saying is that, to visualize it, to see somebody from Micron show like what the place is gonna look like and it's gonna be like this, and talk about the programming. One of the things that they had mentioned was the future ready workforce promise to the region. So they've got some ready-made things
Yeah,
like
they do.
cooking.
Yeah.
If we could, I think the first thing they want to do is just get, make sure that Hugh County is going to work with Hugh County and all the buy-in. But the visualization, perhaps, we can start the conversation, but if it's education of workforce development, I think, and that the green light has been given by Micron to show this is an opportunity to collaborate. I think we should do that. And I know that they're going to share the PowerPoint with us there that you would. I mean, if there were things that we could show some of our counterparts on the county to be like, oh, this is what we're showing to us. This is what they're looking for. This is the name of the program. They want us, the future ready workforce promise to the region. They want to take inventory of all the assets we have, the gaps we can, the conversation's already happened. And then once we get the buy-in, that's when, now we need to get the buy-in of the community to view them down. But the idea is that, as Glenn said, we're basically priming ourselves not just for Micron, but for any business. We want to put our best face forward for any business. So I think, this can only help us.
Yeah, I think so. I think the how is going to be the interest because it's the process. I trust you. That's not even really right, Michael. But I really think that positioning AIDA as a catalyst and convener around these important conversations, just generally speaking, I think if I just walked around general station and said workforce development, I'd probably get a lot of talking about those, So So even just how we talk about these things, the headwinds and tailwinds, where they, at that committee, we're like, we're not even sure. We spent, what, 30 minutes talking about childcare? I'm not even sure if Jane Doe or just the, community in general is understanding beyond a personal experience, how that all connects to the health. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. And I think with the county's just mindset's gonna matter, whether or not they're open, stuff. I think strategy around this is gonna be really great.
And just based on our conversation, do you want me to move forward? I mean, Michael, if you don't mind, you were saying like this political, you wanted to defer to me. Are you guys okay with that, or?
The only thing I'll add is
I like.
Starting the conversation. It's a win-win, like,
right, the question. I don't know what's going on. What's over there. So what I will share is we have a great partner in Chip. Absolutely, really, really committed this year, and our committee chair for workforce development, Kelly Kang, taking direct, direction from Chairman Gould. So I see no reason as to why the city and county cannot, make sure it's at, if not a little bit higher on priority list for development.
Michael, do they have a chair of the economic planning committee, a legislator? What was Aileen's committee? With previously?
Chair appointment.
Okay. And who is there a new chair for that?
Bob Shea is the current planning chair this year.
I think that could be a few things to bring into the workforce development.
Yeah, I know Chairman Gould's one, I know.
Oh, yeah, well, whoever.
Legislative, but if the chair can get me in touch with, I'd be glad to.
I'm comfortable. Yeah, I think we just need to take this.
Absolutely, because I was very impressed with what we saw. And, the react and we got on the same page and we can do what's all been discussed, right here, so.
Yeah, I'm curious about what you think.
Oh, I wasn't there.
I think that what Jimmy said, I think he said, you're right, we have seen a lot of things, but I think people in this area also look for Destiny. And anybody who did look through Destiny USA, there was the promises that came, just look really similar.
Yeah.
And we see what Destiny is today.
That's
So
what my friends are saying about feeling a love bomb, right?
yeah, there's a lot of this sort of like, look how exciting and great this is, and I think people around here are really used to that. We get a lot of-
One of the things
So that's a
that,
good point.
Sharon Owens, the deputy mayor of Syracuse, is a really good friend of mine. And one of the things, when we were having a conversation with the my friend folks, was she says, we try to break this into smaller bites because it's hard for people to imagine, right? Like, what 200 football fields or whatever she's saying, and to figure out, and I think she's wise with that, like make it tangible, right? And so I think we need to be thinking about that, maybe the start of the conversation. Michael had to sort of put out there as the opportunity, but there are really local reasons right now to have the conversation that we're having, because it does feel like so much. So I think that, Steve take the temperature and then I trust Michael to figure out what the communication's doing.
Without saying more, that sort of very close to both Destiny project and this one. And I would say that I knew the Destiny project was snake oil. This one is not snake oil. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to come off because there are a lot of moving parts in any large capital project. But this one is not snake oil.
Yeah, and to that, like this is it's such a heavy lift, and a lot of promise, but semiconductors, the demand is very real. And it's gonna be you need something this big for the United States, not even just central New York, this is not.
Why, yeah.
It's anything like this is difficult though, because, there's no such thing as a philosophy of the asset. No one really expected. Things like that happen. Hard to get parts of the car. So, they're very difficult, you know, there's long lead times for the equipment. Like, my dad read about the paper at my time, things like that. They're very difficult, so, you know, there's, you know, millions of things to be realized, but also, you know, you've got a lot of very smart people trying to be contract. So there's a lot of good things working for it too. So, it's tough, but, you know, they also get pulled off. And it's really perfect and it's really pretty, but it's happy. But that destiny was the work of someone trying to do that, right?
Sure. The point was though, when you're dealing with people who are used to being taken that way, the public, so,
Oh, certainly.
you know, the public was supposed to be behind that in front of it. That same thing was, you know, the same type of discussion we're having now. And we gotta get people behind this, it's a really important thing. And it wasn't an important thing, it was saying, but a lot of people believed in that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like moving once.
Right, yeah, and so we have, whatever we do, we have to go into the record. That's the people, it's not really their fault that they're being gun shy. They have to go through.
There's certain degree of skepticism.
One thing I'll add, kind of building up the community optimism throughout the county itself here is one of the great things that came out of yesterday is the village of Moravia was awarded a New York Border grant, $2.5 million. This is really, really great stuff. And we have several other villages, and this is where outside of the city of Auburn, where you know, folks are really hard living and surrounding community there. So it's things like that on top of downtown revitalization that's going on inside the city of Auburn. It's just kind of rolling on top of itself and building up optimism. So you're seeing that change happening at the local level, and there's something as large as this is coming in. It helps kind of break up, putting all the chips onto one thing, but also, you know, encouraging folks that, you know, that this is reason for optimism here. So, I think Cuyahoga County is well positioned here, and while it might have been great for Cuyahoga County to land Mike Roger, probably the greatest thing that it didn't. So, whatever.
I agree.
Would have been extremely overwhelming, but allows us to, you know, better support, you know, on a dog there and those staff to be good people.
Conversation? Michael, where they have you on?
So TGW, item B, number 5. So I have shared that out with the team here prior to the meeting. I've taken a review of that as I shared with this group, and I also spoke with the AIDA, the joint contract. My recommendation, and I put out the all via email was I don't believe it's in the best interest of this board at this time. I think it's best to pause and reevaluate where you would love to see marketing go. As I've shared in the prior meeting, I think too much emphasis was placed at the local community level, and more of what this firm's intention should be is getting out to your targeted market. Those larger clients bringing in well-paying jobs within the city of Auburn. So that's who we should be marketing to. And a lot of what's been put out there is great from a place-based brand and the important what that means to a company saying, how will my employees react to coming to live here? But that's a one piece of the pie for everything else that this organization is looking to do. So, one of my takeaways from today is getting back to the folks over at TGW and letting them know one way or another.
Everybody not, I don't know if everybody was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Again, but I'm glad you pointed about that. It was well done, but it wasn't targeted.
We do have, a new marketing person coming in to see that. One of the things I've asked that person to do is to really evaluate AIDA's marketing materials, feedback I've heard from the board, what I've observed, and ask that person to get kind of a comprehensive, analysis of here's what was done, here's what is recommended to do moving forward, and whether or not AIDA has the capacity to do that ourselves in-house, or to say, we're going to help locate a better partner. As was brought up, I believe, by Mr. Dacey, of not stopping marketing, but just, what is the best way forward here? So I want to make sure the board is getting, bulleted better priorities and recommendations from AIDA staff and what we think would be done.
The idea is, do they want a partner?
I think right now, because they have not engaged with the marketing firm, their website is still pretty dated, so they do understand and agree that there needs to be a marketing push on their end, but they're in a different place than you are. You have a much more updated website and everything else out there. They do. And then they've also been fortunate to have a great deal of activity over the last year or two and going into this year as well. Not to say AIDA doesn't, but they've just been quite beneficial, doing very little marketing, promotional efforts. That's good. So.
Any more action needed on that?
I don't believe a vote is required for this, to my knowledge. Yeah.
Very good. Do we a report of governance committee?
This will be bumped. I didn't have time to get this off the agenda. This will be bumped to next month. And part of that will be review of our bylaws, the board evaluations, which I'm happy to send to everyone here. Those are compiled and completed. Are they in there? Okay, good.
That was gonna be part of the governance
The governance
meeting today, but yeah, we'll wait until the governance meets again and then we'll discuss it.
You didn't meet.
We did not meet, I think there might have been another conflict in the space, so.
We had a conflict in Mr. Dacey and the
So, next month, and I think there's nothing too pressing, that we can't do next month, if that's okay. Unless there's somebody that really needs to go over it, but I think, the chair of legal will be valuable.
Everyone good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. So we do we need an executive session?
As for this body to decide. I don't believe Rob and I, as I shared earlier, we do have some interest in the 14-acre parcel right now. So I think Rob and I are going to connect on that, but I don't believe we have to really discuss that today or even as part of the executive session. So looking at Rob and confirm what I'm saying. Got it.
What is that wonderful?
And then the state of the county is March 20.
That is there, and one of the things, that's also getting developed in-house at Cedar right now, we're gonna be, stepping on the gas here very soon, and we'll be hosting our annual economic luncheon on March 30th. We'll be getting details out to this board. Strongly encourage everyone to attend. We're looking to host it at Springside this year. Might be too early to reveal the guest speaker, but Auburn native and very well known in the economic development community. I could probably share it's William Fulton. That March 30th. Did you say what?
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, the name of the guest speaker we're looking to have at the event is William Fulton. He's an Auburn native, grew up here. He has been in economic development for years and years, mostly out on the West Coast.
Hey, do you have anything else, Michael?
That is it.
Does anyone else have anything before I ask for an adjournment? Have a motion to adjourn, please. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It was huge. That's what they were saying. See what I said? They're saying your enrollment.
That's came out with the report. Auburn, most of the schools in the town have enrollment. Grades are gonna be needed to go down here. Whole programs. You're gonna get rate boost.
Yeah. Great. Our enrollment. Yeah. It's gonna be great for most of the grade. I mean, I don't think none of us have all of it.